A very good afternoon. It's the 21st of January 2022. This is Lunchtime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news this afternoon, I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. Before we take a look at our stories in detail, here is a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
Fire ravages through 5 houses in Perella. Another blaze reported from the Kilinochi hospital. Scheduled power outages to end. Sabugaskanda power station continues to face an acute furnace oil shortage. Government launches an insurance scheme for all artists free of charge. Russia to conduct naval drills amid heavy warnings from America.
In your lead story this afternoon, a fire has ripped through 6 houses along the Kitulwata road in Perella.
Earlier today, a fire ripped through 6 houses here in the Kitulwata road in Perella. Now, the Colombo Fire Brigade dispatched 6 trucks to contain the fire, and as you can see behind me, the fire has been contained as of now. According to the fire service department, the fire has been contained. Residents said the blaze had occurred at around 10 this morning. 6 fire trucks had been dispatched to douse the fire. The reason for the blaze has not been ascertained.
Gas leak yadda?
Danne kiyanne. Ida minisot kiyanne danne poi gedirin daan kiyala kawud danne kiyanne. Another fire broke out at the District General Hospital in Kilinochi last night. Our correspondent said equipment at the hospital had been damaged owing to the fire.
In more local news, the Colombo Crimes Division has arrested an individual identified as Ranale Ruwan from Ranna in Hambantota today. Ranale Ruwan was wanted by authorities as it was believed that it was he who provided the hand grenade that was discovered at the All Saints Church in Perella on the 11th of January. Police said the suspect was arrested yesterday based on information provided by the retired doctor from Piliandala, who is currently in police custody in connection to the incident.
Sri Lanka police said that the hand grenade was placed at the church in Perella on the instructions of a retired doctor from Piliandala who was arrested on Monday. Investigations carried out by the Colombo Crimes Division revealed that a suspect detained by the Colombo Harbour Police is believed to have placed the hand grenade at the church in Perella, and he was identified as a 65-year-old from Panamure. Police said that the suspect had visited the All Saints Church in Perella on the day of the incident, and his presence was captured on CCTV. According to Sri Lanka police, investigations revealed that the hand grenades discovered at the Bellangvilla Temple and Lanka Hospital in 2021 were placed on the instructions of the 75-year-old retired doctor who is already in police custody. Sri Lanka police suspect that the doctor may have resorted to such action due to the trauma he suffered following the demise of his wife. However, Osho Lahirath, the son of the arrested doctor, who is also a social and political activist, has denied the allegations made against his father. Earlier, Sri Lanka police arrested 3 workers from the church over the incident. On the 13th of January this year, 2 days after the discovery of a grenade at the church premises, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, Archbishop of Colombo, said the discovery of a hand grenade at a Colombo church is a conspiracy. He flagged Sri Lanka police over its handling of the investigation, adding that authorities were presented a cooked-up story instead of revealing the truth. His Eminence said detectives have only examined CCTV footage recorded from 3 p.m. the day the grenade was discovered and not from the morning, adding that morning footage clearly shows a man acting in a suspecting manner. The Cardinal also made public the CCTV footage, and Sri Lanka police is pursuing the investigation using the footage as well.
Now shifting your attention towards a story that has been making headlines since recently. In keeping with its assurance, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has supplied 10,000 metric tons of diesel to the Kalanithissa power plant complex this morning.
Andrew Navamuni further said power generation at the Kalanithissa power plant can continue without any hindrance. He also noted that the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has taken necessary steps to supply 500 metric tons of heavy fuel oil, also known as furnace oil, required for power generation at the Sapugaskanda power station and the barge-mounted power plant at the Colombo port. Andrew Navamuni said an uninterrupted supply of electricity will be possible today. However, he went on to note that the Sapugaskanda power station continues to face a severe shortage of furnace oil. Furnace oil at plant A of the Sapugaskanda power station lasts for only around 8 hours, while furnace oil at plant B is only sufficient for around 20 hours. 108 megawatts will be added to the national grid through these stations. Meanwhile, the work to rule action launched by the CEB Engineers Union demanding the newly appointed CEB General Manager be removed from his position is still ongoing. Executive Committee member of the CEB Engineers Union, Charit Jainath Dayaratna, said action in this regard must be taken based on the instructions of the Attorney General. This sudden appointment has breached the Ceylon Electricity Board Act No. 17 of 1969. The Attorney General has explicitly revealed that the chairman has gone against the interim ruling handed down by the Court of Appeal. The Director Board along with the chairman have been given an opportunity to correct this. Although we were planning to launch the second stage of our work to rule campaign, we decided against it based on the advice of the Attorney General because the second stage of this campaign would see us completely refraining from executing our duties.
Meanwhile, the Marathi intellectual discussion was telecast on our sister channel Sirsa TV last night. Sri Lanka's power crisis was the focal point of yesterday's program. Now, several industry experts expressed their views on the matter.
දැන් තෙල් නැතුව එක බලාගාරයක් නැති වුණොත් එහෙම නැත්නම් ජලය නැතුව යම්සේ බලාගාරයක් නැති වුණොත්
if we lose a power plant due to the lack of oil or water,
supply demand
then we will be unable to balance supply and demand. That is when power cuts occur. The peak demand these days is 2,700 to 2,800 megawatts. Demand peaks at around 7 or 8 at night. If we only have 2,800 megawatts exactly, that is insufficient. We need to have an additional capacity of at least 300 megawatts. What is happening today is we only have 2,800 megawatts exactly. In that case, maintaining a continuous supply is tricky. This situation has lasted for over 5 years. But in those years, we did not suffer from a dollar crisis. So we spent freely. That only resulted in our dollar reserves depleting.
ඒකින් උනේ අපේ ඩොලර් සංචිත දිය වෙලා ගියා.
විශාල ජල විදුලි බලාගාර මෙගාවට් 1400ක් තියෙනවා.
1,800 megawatts are provided through large hydropower plants. 1,200 megawatts are provided through thermal power plants. The coal power plants provide 900 megawatts. Another 1,000 megawatts are added through wind, small hydro plants, solar power plants and roof-mounted solar panels. If you add all these, it comes up to 4,500 megawatts. One might wonder why it is impossible to supply 2,900 megawatts of the 4,500. That is reasonable. Many in the country think that this matter can be resolved through solar panels and wind power plants. But those power plants can only function when the relevant source is available. What I am trying to say is, even if we have the money to purchase stocks of fuel and coal, we will have to cause power outages this year. We are facing this crisis today because power plants were not constructed in a timely manner to cater to our country's power demand. Institutions responsible for it must carry out those duties at the opportune moment. Such institutions must be allowed to carry out those duties as well. According to my knowledge, none of the power plants included in the long-term power generation plan have been constructed at the right time over the past 40 years. Various requests had been made during 2016 and 2020 for emergency power purchases. At no instance has the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka granted permission permission to purchase power unwantedly. I believe that is a benefit of regulating this sector. If such oversight was absent, power could have been purchased at any time and any cost. That would result in the 571 billion rupees we saved up being spent on emergency power purchases. I believe all these issues are man-made. We have given rise to this ourselves. We have introduced many projects from 2016 and asked those to be initiated. Cabinet approval and permission from the CEB Director Board has also been granted, but none of these projects have gone forward owing to various hindrances.
කිසිම ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් විවිධ හේතුන් මත හරියට ඉදිරියට ගිහිල්ලා නැහැ.
Meanwhile, views on the prevailing economic situations were expressed in the political arena.
Minister of Petroleum says that the IOC is refusing to provide us oil, even though the oil tanks were handed over to them.
ඉතින් අර වලකට වැටෙන එක මොලේට හොඳයි කිව්වට මේගොල්ලෝ වලට පතුලට වැටිලත් දැනෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉගෙන ගන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකින්ද ආණ්ඩුවට උපදෙස් දීලා හරි විවේචනය කළා හරි.
They seem to be unaware of how deep we have fallen. They don't learn. There is no point in advising or criticizing the government. I don't see a future for our children in this country. It has come to a point where people are considering migration, leaving behind our motherland. It is the 21st century. People are traveling to space, but we are being left to like twigs because we have no dollars. A country should not be affected by COVID-19 or any other factor. People are suffering. The ministers are at loggerheads. MPs are scolding authorities. The country is in debt. State assets are being sold. The economy is facing a crisis. We are bankrupt. This needs to be fixed. Gazettes are being revoked every day. Everyone, including the rich and poor, is afraid of the government's next move.
මහා පරිමාණ ආයෝජකය දක්වා දැන් ඉන්නේ පට්ටබයි.
ණයවාරික නිකුත් කර ගැනීම LC ඕපන් කර ගැනීමේ අර්බුදයක් තියෙනවා.
There is an issue with opening letters of credit. Several industries are being inconvenienced as a result. During the cabinet meeting, I suggested that discussions must be held with countries that we import raw materials from. Steps can be taken to obtain a special line of credit from such countries. That is the ideal solution at this time. Apart from the power crisis the country is facing, the issue related to the importation of raw material is an important issue faced by several industries in the country.
In news from the Parliamentary Complex, Chief Opposition Whip Lakshman Perella said the Parliamentary Sectoral Oversight Committees allowing MPs to directly intervene in the legislative process have not been appointed for 2 years. A heated situation arose amidst the discussion.
The Parliament Sectoral Oversight Committee was established under the 20th Amendment. It has not been appointed for more than 2 years. This is unfair. The government is saying that they are introducing a new constitution. Is it right to introduce it so fast, using the attorneys who overlook their personal cases? A Parliament Sectoral Oversight Committee must be appointed and every sentence must be discussed before introducing new legislation to Parliament. That is why it is included. Both the 20th and 19th Amendments have included it. That is good, since these matters don't get discussed in depth at the advisory committees. The Sectoral Oversight Committee was appointed to run through critical legislature word by word before bringing it to Parliament. We introduced it with the 19th Amendment. It was accepted by the 20th as well. It has been delayed for over 2 years. The permission of the House was given to revoke the particular article. We had revoked several standing orders. Moreover, the Sectoral Oversight Committee was established by the previous government. The previous government lost power due to its failures and mishaps. Since the Sectoral Oversight Committee did not fulfill the requirements of MPs properly, the government and the opposition agreed to establish advisory committees. Accordingly, advisory committees were appointed in the last year. What can be done by the advisory committees cannot be done by the Sectoral Oversight Committees. I would like to remind you once again that they are functioning against such a backdrop. Therefore, we will only establish required committees. No functions of any committees have been cancelled. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the Sectoral Oversight Committees gave the power for MPs to question ministers. We see government faction MPs talk about problems outside. This committee allowed MPs to discuss professionally with ministers and reach solutions to the problems of the people. Our government indeed lost power. But during a time when your government is losing power, provide the opportunity for MPs to question ministers. Otherwise, you are going down a wrong path.
In more news from here at home, a multiple vehicle collision was reported along the Southern Expressway this morning between Kahathudawa and Kottawa. According to the police, 3 vehicles were involved in the accident. An individual was injured during the accident. The police said, as a result, only one lane in the expressway will be opened. Meanwhile, the State Ministry of National Heritage, Performing Arts and Rural Arts Promotion has taken steps to grant a free life insurance to all artists in the country. The inauguration ceremony of the program was held under the auspices of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at Temple Trees yesterday.
Insurance policies were awarded to 50 artists during the ceremony yesterday. The official website of the State Ministry of National Heritage, Performing Arts and Rural Arts Promotion was also launched by the Prime Minister.
ස්ථීර ආදායම් මාර්ගයක් නැති අඩු ආදායම් ලාභී කලාකරුවන්ට කොයිඩ් වසංගතය හමුවේ
The insurance scheme will prioritize the artists who lost job security owing to the COVID-19 pandemic and those who do not earn a fixed income. We are well aware that you do not want to go back to the time where you were restricted. We have never imposed restrictions on artists. We will maintain the same stance tomorrow as well. We know the pulse of the artists. I have known many entertainers for a while, so I understand.
තාවරේම ඉන්නේ. අපි දන්නවා සැබෑ කලාකරුවෝගේ හදගැස්ම. මම මේ ගොඩක් අය ඒ කාලේ ඉඳන් අඳුරන අය. ඒ නිසා ඔබේ හදගැස්ම මම අඳුරනවා.
The Satyagraha launched by farmers in Hambantota reached its 32nd day. The protest is being staged by 86 farmers' organizations, including the Wallava Left Bank United Farmers Organization. The farmers demand a permanent solution to the wild elephant encroachments. Although over a month has lapsed since the Satyagraha was launched, no solution has been provided. The Satyagraha is being staged, demanding the proper activation of the gazetted Hambantota Wild Elephant Management Reserve and also urging authorities to direct wild elephants roaming the area, threatening their lives and property, to the gazetted wild sanctuary instead. A herd of wild elephants attacked the farmers at the Satyagraha site last evening. The evidence examination in the case filed against parliamentarian Patali Champikaranavaka and 2 others for causing grievous injury to a person by rash and negligent driving on the 28th of February 2016 was postponed to the 18th of February this year. They are charged with fabricating false evidence over the accident that took place in Rajagiriya.
Samagi Janabalawege MP Patali Champikaranavaka, ASP Sudat Asmadla and Dilum Thusita Kumara were present in court today. The Attorney General submitted to the court the Judicial Medical Officer's report, which was called for on the previous day of the trial with regard to the first accused in the case, Patali Champikaranavaka, failing to attend the court proceedings as he was hospitalized. Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris informed the court that according to the JMO's report, the first accused, Patali Champikaranavaka's health condition was deemed normal based on 10 medical tests conducted. Accordingly, Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris said it appears that the first accused had deliberately attempted to delay the court proceedings and thereby requested that a date be fixed for trial. However, President's Counsel Anuja Premaratna, appearing for the former minister, said his client was admitted to the nearest hospital based on a sudden illness and was instructed to undergo multiple tests and never conducted himself to delay court proceedings. Further examination of the case was fixed for the 18th and 23rd of February.
For decades, residents of the Ulkatuputta village in Polonnaruwa were deprived of a dependable source of drinking water. While a water purification unit was installed in the village, the water it provided was insufficient to meet the needs of all its residents. When Gammadda was made aware of their woes, we stepped in to provide them with clean drinking water once more.
The Ulkatuputta village is situated in the Polonnaruwa district and falls under the purview of the Hinguragoda Pradeshya Sabha. The livelihood of many residents of this village is paddy cultivation. Although the village is blessed with water springs, ironically, its residents were in dire need of clean drinking water. Over the years, this caused many in the village to suffer from kidney-related diseases. Gammatha identified this requirement when we visited the village in 2020 during our door-to-door campaign. While Gammatha facilitated the requirements for this meritorious deed, Mr. B. Samuel Nandasena and his spouse, who are residents of Pattaramulla, provided us with financial support to make this project a success. Today, at long last, the Ulkatupota village will be provided its own water purification apparatus.
The Wildlife and Nature Protection Society has organized a lecture on shipwreck preservation yesterday. The event was held at the BMICH in Colombo.
The aim of the seminar was to preserve shipwrecks around the Sea of Sri Lanka while investing in them to benefit future generations. Information was also provided on the archaeological heritage of shipwrecks, biodiversity hotspots and magnets for recreational divers.
When the Ranmutuduwa film was being shot, the director found a shipwreck at the Great Bass's Reef. There were silver coins in it. From there on, attention has been paid to shipwrecks. Sometimes most shipwrecks are used to salvage steel. Back then they used dynamite and compressors. Today that is done more discreetly. Even fishing communities use dynamite for fishing in and around shipwrecks because large numbers of fish exist in these areas.
Scientists have predicted corals going extinct from this area in early as 50 years. When natural coral reefs are destroyed, shipwrecks serve as shelter for marine species. Moreover, these provide hotspots for fishermen to carry out fishing.
In headline-making news from overseas, Russia yesterday announced sweeping naval drills in several parts of the world this month and claimed the West is plotting provocations in neighboring Ukraine, where the Kremlin has been accused of planning aggressive military action.
Amid a build-up of an estimated 100,000 Russian troops near the border with Ukraine and massive joint war games with Belarus, the Russian Defense Ministry said it will also conduct maneuvers involving the bulk of Russia's naval potential. The Russian Defense Ministry said, quote-unquote, the drills are intended to practice Navy and Air Force action to protect Russian national interests in the world's oceans and to counter military threats to the Russian Federation, adding that they will start this month and run through February. It said the exercise will involve over 140 warships and more than 60 aircraft and will be conducted in both littoral waters and more distant, operationally important areas, including the Mediterranean, northeastern Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. The ministry said several Russian warships are currently taking part in a joint exercise with China and Iran in the Gulf of Oman that began on Tuesday and will last until the weekend. On Wednesday, U.S. President Joe Biden said he thinks Russia will invade Ukraine and warned President Vladimir Putin that his country would pay a dear price in lives lost and a possible cut-off from the global banking system if it does. Moscow has repeatedly denied having plans to launch an offensive, but it has sought a set of security guarantees from the West that would include NATO's expansion to Ukraine and other ex-Soviet nations and the deployment of alliance weapons there. Washington and its allies firmly rejected Moscow's demands in security talks last week, but kept the door open to possible further talks on arms control and confidence-building measures to reduce the potential for hostilities.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, you can log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching. A very good day to you and take care.